Hi, I'm David Woolfall, Director of Woolfall Residential. Today I want to talk to you about tenant selection. One of the most important functions that a property manager can do during their time managing your investment is to select the correct tenant for your property. Selection of an incorrect tenant that's going to cause dramas and problems will be stressful for everyone and can lead to quite a disastrous tenancy and also problems with your property, rent not being paid, damage to property, so on and so forth. It's vitally important that the correct tenant is chosen. Whilst we cannot guarantee future performance, we can choose a great tenant now. Things may go wrong in their future that no one can predict now, and that's why we have landlord insurance. For example, they might lose a job or have a relationship breakdown. Those things can turn a great tenant into a not so good tenant. What the function of your property manager is in tenant selection is to minimise the risks by ensuring the tenant that is chosen today is a good quality tenant today. We do this through a number of ways. Firstly, there is marketing to get good quality tenants looking at the property. It involves having the property looking in its best possible way, so as we attract the better quality tenants to come and have a look at the property to start with. From there, it's a matter of choosing that tenant by going through and vetting them. Firstly, we always insist at Woolfall Residential that a tenant looks at the property before they apply for the property. This achieves a few things. One, we know that they're going to like the property. They're not just basing it on the photographs. So there's no moving in and then saying this isn't exactly what we thought it was going to be. Second thing that it's going to achieve is that it's going to give us a gut instinct about that tenant. And sometimes your gut instinct, after meeting them and getting a first impression, is far more important than some of those written references that you can gain from other agents, from their employer and so forth. As far as the references go, it's important for us to look at what their rental history has been. We'll speak to their current property manager and go back to their previous manager as well. We're looking to see if they pay their rent on time, do they look after the property, are they cooperative with the agent when dealing with issues like maintenance and so forth, do they allow access to the property easily for things like routine inspections and the like, and would the current agent rent to this tenant again? And that really sums everything up. If they say yes, then you know it's a good tenant. If they say no, then you know there may be some problems there. We ask the same things of the previous agent that was looking after them prior to the current one. We want to speak to their employer as well, because we want to know, one, that they've got a job and they can afford the property. So we're after how long have they been at that employer, how much do they earn, are they reliable, do they turn up on time, are they cooperative? And that really gives us a good understanding of what they're like as a person. And a good quality person is more likely to look after your property as well. We want to know how long they've been at their current rental and their current job, because that gives us an idea of stability. As a landlord, it's important to you that you'd like to have a tenant that doesn't just want to stay there for a year. They want to stay on for quite a while, which reduces vacancy rates and so forth for you, which is a major benefit. We also do a check through the database systems. We use a company called Ticker. Now, there are a number of database systems out there. They are an extra precaution that we take to ensure or help ensure that the tenant chosen for your property is the best possible. But by no means should you rely solely on a database check. Not all agents make use of them. The information isn't always up to date and correct. It's just an indicator, like everything else, as to what this tenant has been like. Now, if something does show up as being a bad history, then you know there's a problem. But if it's a blank tenancy history that shows up, don't take it for granted that that's how things have been. It's important for agents to remember that it's your property, and the person that goes into that property has to be someone that you approve. At Woolfall Residential, we ensure that you know as much about a prospective tenant as we know. We'll tell you their story, we'll tell you their history, we'll tell you their employment, and we'll tell you what our gut instinct or first impression was. We'd let you know, what would we do if it was our home? And then it's up to you to make a decision as to do you want to go ahead with that tenant or do you want to search for somebody else. Don't rush in to choosing the first tenant simply because they're the first tenant to apply and you want the property filled quickly. Rushing in can cause more problems down the track than it's worth to get that extra week's rent by getting them in early. Make sure you get the right tenant for your home. Make sure you've got a tenant that's not going to cause you any dramas. Vitally important to reduce the stresses on you, to ensure that the property is looked after and that you're maximising the benefit you get from your investment. So if you've got any further questions about choosing a tenant, feel free to give me a call, 0419 018 005. Otherwise, I'll have another video out in a couple of weeks. Thanks for your time.